Tired of perfectionism paralyzing your dreams, endless planning, zero progress? In this Audiobook World Masterclass, grab the exact blueprint to shatter that cycle and start winning today. Discover 3 game-changing takeaways: how to launch imperfectly and build unstoppable momentum, rewire your inner critic for daily wins, and turn failures into your unfair advantage. Hit subscribe for more life-changing audiobooks. Then use the timestamps below to jump straight to any of the 12 chapters. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing wildly against jagged rocks. Your heart pounds as you grip a single oar, the wind howling your doubts. You've dreamed of crossing this sea your whole life, but perfection whispers, "Wait until you're ready." Flawless boat, perfect map, unbreakable resolve. Yet deep down you know true voyages begin with a shaky stroke into the unknown. Welcome to the principle of progress over perfection. This isn't just a book, it's your permission slip to launch. Let go of the myth that flawless is the only path forward. Together we'll paddle through storms of self-doubt, discovering that every imperfect step carves the shore of your destiny. Breathe deep. Your journey starts now. Chapter 1. The illusion of the perfect starting line. Picture this. You're standing on a wind-swept cliff, the ocean roaring below like 1,000 untamed hearts. In your hands, a fragile paper boat, creased and damp from the mist. You've spent years dreaming of this moment, crafting it in your mind to be flawless, every fold precise, every edge sharp enough to slice through doubt. But the waves crash higher, mocking your hesitation. One voice inside screams, "Wait, perfect it first." Stronger paper, better design, unbreakable seams. And so you stand frozen, boat crumbling in your grip, while the sea swallows opportunities whole. Does this feel familiar? That paralyzing pull at the edge of your greatest dreams. Right now, in this very breath, you're about to shatter that illusion forever. Welcome to the heart of it all, the principle that liberates souls and ignites destinies. Progress over perfection. Not as a slogan, but as the raw, breathing truth that has carried ordinary people to extraordinary shores. I'm speaking directly to you, the one who's paused mid-stride, heart-heavy with what-ifs. You've felt it, the exquisite torture of waiting for the stars to align, for your skills to shine without shadow, for the world to nod approval before you dare move. But here's the foundation we build everything on. Perfection isn't your protector. It's your prison, disguised as prudence. Let me take you back to a moment that mirrors your own. There was a woman named Clara, a single mother in a quiet suburb, her nights lit by the glow of a laptop screen. She harbored a fire to write, a novel that danced in her dreams, characters so vivid they whispered to her in the dark. For 3 years, she polished outlines, rewrote openings until they gleamed like museum glass. Every sentence had to sing, every plot twist land like lightning. Friends urged her on, her own reflection in the mirror begged her to begin, but perfection held her hostage. Not yet, it cooed. One more revision, make it immortal. The file grew thick with edits, yet the story never breathed air. Clara's passion withered, page by untouched page, until one dawn despair cracked her open. She printed the messiest draft, bound it with string, and handed it to her neighbor, a weary teacher who devoured it in a night. "This changed me," the neighbor said, tears staining the margins. That imperfect seed, it bloomed into Clara's first published book, a bestseller that touched thousands. Not because it was flawless, but because it existed. You see, the perfect starting line is the grandest lie we tell ourselves. It's an invisible gatekeeper, forged in the fires of fear, demanding conditions that reality never meets. Think of the artist who never paints because the canvas must be pristine, the entrepreneur who never launches because the app lacks that final polish, the leader who never speaks because their voice isn't symphony smooth. These aren't rare tragedies, they're the daily dirge of dreamers everywhere. Perfection whispers that progress is a straight arrow to excellence, but truth roars back. It's a winding river, carving canyons through stone, deepened by every bend and detour. Feel that shift inside you. That's awareness awakening. The core idea here isn't abstract philosophy. It's your lifeline. Progress begins where perfection stalls, in the gritty, glorious now. It's the lessons to step forward with what you have, trusting that motion reveals mastery. Science echoes this wisdom. Studies on human potential show that action triggers neurochemical cascades, flooding your brain with dopamine, the fuel of focus and flow. Imperfect starts don't just move you, they transform you, rewiring hesitation into habit. But let's dig deeper, into the emotional soil, where this illusion takes root. Why do we cling so fiercely? It traces back to our earliest breaths. Childhood echoes of good enough isn't enough. Teachers red-penning joy out of creation, societies exalting the flawless few while burying the brave many. That inner ledger tallies every stumble as shame, every draft as defeat. Yet imagine flipping it. What if your first awkward attempt isn't a flaw, but the fertile ground of genius? Clara didn't wait for literary lightning. She summoned her storm, and in that summoning she discovered a profound truth. Perfection robs you of presence. It pulls you into a future that's forever out of reach, stealing the sacred power of this moment. Let this chapter be your declaration of freedom. Repeat after me in the quiet of your mind. I release the myth of the perfect start. I choose the power of the first step. Feel the weight lifting. That's not imagination. It's incarnation. Your body knows it. Your spirit craves it. We've all stood on that cliff, boat in hand, waves waiting. The illusion crumbles when you see it for what it is. A shadow, not substance. Progress isn't about erasing edges. It's about embracing the etchings that make you irreplaceable. Now, carry this foundation into your days. Next time doubt draws that flawless line in the sand, remember Clara's string-bound draft, the ocean's relentless call. Erase the line with your footfall. Begin. Breathe into the becoming, because true transformation doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. And as this truth settles in your bones, a quiet question lingers. What invisible finish lines are weighing you down right now? Unseen but suffocating. In the next chapter, we'll lift that burden together, revealing how to lighten your load and race toward horizons you never dared imagine. Stay with me. The path ahead glows brighter already. Chapter 2. The Weight of Unseen Finish Lines. Imagine a marathon runner, lungs burning, miles from the tape, yet collapsing under an invisible chain around her ankle. Not forged of iron, but woven from whispers, ghostly finish lines drawn in the sand of her mind by faceless judges. She sees them everywhere, the flawless form she must achieve, the record time she can't shatter, the crowd's roar reserved only for the unbroken. Sweat mixes with tears as she kneels, the real finish distant but attainable, crushed by phantoms she alone carries. Sound the alarm in your soul. This is your race right now. Those unseen burdens aren't badges of ambition. They're anchors drowning your stride. Feel the chain tighten. It's time to name it, snap it, and run free. We're diving deeper into the heart of progress over perfection, building on that first liberating step. Today we confront the heaviest thief of dreams, the weight of finish lines you can't see, but feel in every fiber. These aren't distant goals, they're mirages perfection plants to paralyze you before you begin. Picture them as shadowed mountains on your horizon, summits demanding superhuman climbs, when the true path is a gentle rise you could crest tomorrow. I've walked this shadowed valley myself, and so have you. That knot in your chest when ambition stirs. It's the pull of these unseen ends, tricking you into carrying loads meant for giants. Let me pull back the curtain with a story that will echo in your quiet hours. Meet Tomas, a carpenter in a dusty coastal town, hands calloused from years shaping wood into wonders. His dream, a custom furniture line that whispered heirloom stories to every home. He sketched tables that danced with grain patterns like living rivers, chairs cradling the weary like old friends. But perfection etched finish lines in his blueprint, flawless joinery visible only under microscope, finishes gleaming like liquid mirror, prices set for palaces he couldn't enter. For months he toiled in solitude, sanding edges to ethereal smoothness, testing varnishes under every light. His workshop overflowed with near masterpieces gathering dust, bills mounted, hope frayed. One evening a neighbor knocked, needing a simple shelf for his overflowing books. Tomas hesitated. It wasn't ready. No perfect dovetails, just sturdy pine and honest nails. He built it overnight, delivered it raw-edged at dawn. The neighbor's eyes lit up. This holds more than books. It holds life. Words spread like salt on sea wind. Orders flooded in. Tomas's line wasn't born flawless. It was born moving, evolving with each customer's touch, each lesson carved from real use. Today his pieces grace homes worldwide, not as monuments to perfection, but testaments to timely creation. This is the core revelation of our chapter. Unseen finish lines crush because they're crafted from comparison's cruel forge. We borrow burdens from imagined rivals, the influencer with viral polish, the mogul with meteoric rise, strapping their weights to our willing backs. But life unfolds, not in straight sprints to scripted ends, but in spirals of discovery, where each loop lightens the load. Emotional truth hits hard here. These lines stem from a deeper ache, a fear of vulnerability's exposure. To cross imperfectly means admitting you're human, flawed, feeling, forever unfolding. Perfection promises armor. Progress offers wings. Science whispers agreement. Research on goal setting reveals rigid endpoints spike cortisol, the stress that stalls creativity, while flexible progress fosters serotonin, the steady glow of sustained joy. Pause and feel this in your own story. That novel stalled at chapter 3, demanding epic prose before page 1. The fitness goal abandoned because muscles didn't ripple overnight. The relationship mended too messily to count as fixed. These are your chains, invisible but iron true. They weigh because we let them define worth. Arrival over journey, product over process. Yet wisdom from ancient mariners teaches otherwise. Sailors don't curse crooked coasts. They chart them, grateful for the wind that bends but never breaks. Your unseen lines are crooked coasts too, invitations to navigate, not conquer. Here's where transformation ignites. Lighten the load by redrawing the map. Ask yourself, right now, in this sacred pause, what does this finish line truly demand? Strip away the gloss. Is it completion or completion without soul? Tomas learned to measure by sails unfurled, not harbors flawless. You can too. Start small. Name one burden aloud. The perfect body by summer. Reframe. Stronger strides this week. Feel the chain loosen? That's N's pulsing back into your veins. Progress doesn't erase horizons. It reveals them as friends, not foes. Guides whispering, come closer, step by step. We've all buckled under these weights, but rising defines us. Tomas's shelf wasn't art. It was the spark. your next small crossing, it'll be yours. Let this truth seep into your marrow. Unseen finish lines fade when you race by feel, not by phantom flags. Motion mocks their might. Emotional freedom blooms here, not in flawless finishes, but in the fierce joy of forward lean. As this lightness settles, like dawn chasing night, wonder stirs. What if those blemishes you hide aren't flaws, but the very beauty calling others to your side? In the chapter ahead, we'll embrace them fully, uncovering how imperfection isn't your curse, it's your canvas. The journey deepens. Lean in. Chapter 3. Embracing the beauty of the blemish. Envision an ancient vase, unearthed from desert sands, its surface etched with cracks like lightning frozen in clay. In a collector's dim gallery, hands tremble as they cradle it, not despite the fractures, but because of them. Each scar tells a saga of earthquakes survived, nomads' journeys endured, time's tender fury. Polish it smooth, and it becomes just another vessel. Leave the blemishes bare, and it sings of resilience, drawing eyes that ache with recognition. Right now, you are that vase, your dreams cracked, your efforts scarred, yet perfection demands erasure, as if wholeness lies in blank perfection. Hear the call rising. Those marks aren't ruins, they're revelations. Lean close. Your beauty begins where the breaks breathe. We're threading deeper into progress over perfection, hearts lighter from shedding unseen weights. This chapter unveils the sacred truth. Blemishes aren't betrayals of your best. They're the brushstrokes of your bold self. Perfection polishes until you're a ghost of generic gleam, unrecognizable even to your mirror. But embracing imperfection, that's the alchemy, turning ordinary into unforgettable, vulnerability into unbreakable allure. I'm talking to the part of you hiding sketches in drawers, demos on dusty drives, words whispered only to shadows. Feel that pull toward hiding. It's the old guard resisting revolution. Today, we revolt with reverence. Let me illuminate this with Lena's light, a potter whose wheels spun dreams into clay, long before dawn lit her rural studio. She envisioned bowls that cradled souls, curves inviting touch, glazes shifting like sunset moods. But perfection haunted her kiln. Symmetrical lips only, flawless firing without a single bubble or warp. Dozens of pieces shattered in pursuit, reformed and refired, until exhaustion claimed her. Customers trickled in, admiring but untouched, everything too tidy, too temple-sacred. One stormy afternoon, lightning split her largest wheel-thrown vessel, a jagged fissure racing its belly like a river reborn. Rage surged. She nearly smashed it. Instead, intuition stayed her hand. She mended it with gold-dusted lacquer, the ancient kintsugi way, crack not concealed, but celebrated as golden vein pulsing life. Placed it front and center. A local artist wandered in, froze, wept. This isn't pottery, it's poetry of survival. She bought it, photographed it, shared it, commissions cascaded. Lena's Flawed Fires collection sold out. Each piece uniquely scarred, uniquely sought. Not for hiding breaks, but for honoring them as the heart's honest handwriting. Here's the profound pivot. Blemishes forge beauty, because they forge connection. In a world starved for real, the flawless repels, the fractured resonates. Your uneven voice in that first video, it quivers with truth no studio polish can fake. The typo-laced email landing the gig, it lands because it lands human. Emotional wisdom roots here. We crave mirrors of our own mending, not mannequins of make-believe. Perfection isolates in ivory isolation. Imperfection invites into shared humanity. Neuroscience nods knowingly. Mirror neurons fire brighter at authentic flaws, sparking empathy's electric bond. the glue of genuine tribes. Breathe this into your being. Recall your own hidden treasures. The song lyrics scrawled on a napkin, voice cracking on the chorus. The business plan scribbled in margins, numbers askew. The apology letter folded too many times, words raw as open wounds. Perfection deems them discard, progress deems them diamonds in the rough. Society scripts us otherwise, from Instagram filters airbrushing acne scars, to boardrooms prizing presentations sans a single stutter. Yet the greats whisper rebellion. Picasso's early sketches, jagged with doubt, yet explosive with genius. Frida Kahlo's self-portraits pierced by pain, immortal for their unflinching gaze. Their blemishes didn't diminish, they defined, drawing us into depths perfection skims. Transformation thrives in this embrace. Practice it now. Unearth one flawed creation. Hold it without judgment. Trace the crack. What story does it tell? Lena's gold-veined bowl didn't just sell. It healed buyers who saw their fractures reflected. Yours will too. Spiritually, this is soul work. Blemishes are divine fingerprints, reminders you're crafted for becoming, not stasis. They humble, humanize, and ultimately hypnotize. Progress polishes through presence, not erasure, revealing luster layer by lived layer. Feel the warmth spreading? That's acceptance anchoring. No longer apologizing for edges, you stand taller, creations glowing with lived light. Audiences don't flock to finish lines, they follow the fire of the frayed. Your blemishes, their beacons, calling kindred spirits to the dance of the delightfully undone. As this beauty blooms within, a new rhythm stirs. What if those stumbles aren't stops, but the spark igniting unrelenting motion? In the chapter to come, we'll shatter the momentum myth, discovering how even the tiniest push propels you past paralysis. The fire rises. Walk with me. Chapter 4, The Momentum Mythbuster. Feel the engine of a vintage steam locomotive shuddering to life in the pre-dawn fog, pistons slick with oil, boiler groaning against the chill. You've primed it perfectly, gauges flawless, tracks gleaming, every bolt torqued to spec. But there it sits, majestic monument to meticulousness, exhaling plumes of promise, while the dawn train to destiny thunders past without you. Perfection idles at zero, a gleaming corpse. It's the roar that follows the first imperfect chug, the black smoke of breakthrough, the ground-shaking surge that devours distance. Hear your own engine humming now, starved for that initial thrust. This chapter ignites it. No more stalled splendor. Your voyage demands motion now. Deepening our path through progress over perfection, we arrive at the engine room. The myth that stalls souls and the truth that sets them surging. Perfection worships the pristine launch, demanding every dial dialed before the whistle blows. But momentum reveals the deeper law. 0 to unstoppable begins with one gritty turn, not flawless fanfare. I'm speaking to the architect of unfinished blueprints, the composer of silent symphonies, the visionary with visions vaulted away. That inner Hume turning to hunger, it's your power stirring. Today we bust the myth wide open, fueling the force that carries dreamers across impossible divides. Let me draw you into Marcus's forge, a blacksmith in the shadow of Appalachian hills, where hammer met anvil under starlit skies. He dreamed of blades that sang knives, balancing lethal grace with heirloom soul, edges whispering through air like secrets. Perfection gripped his bellows. Blades must balance to the gram, hilts carved to ergonomic ecstasy, sheaths stitched without a single pucker. Months melted into iron dust, prototypes piled like fallen soldiers, each retired for the sin of almost. His forge grew cold, debts like slag weighing his spirit. Then winter gripped the valley, and a neighbor, A weathered hunter, rapped on his door, pleading for a field knife before dawn's deer hunt. No time for polish. Marcus quenched a rough billet. Overnight. Edge wavy from haste, handle wrapped in raw leather, balance off by a hair. He handed it over at midnight, heart heavy with compromise. The hunter returned at dusk, eyes alight, blade nicked but notchless in its work. This cut true felt alive in my hand. That flawed fang birthed Marcus's forge forward line. Tools born moving, refined by rivers of use. Orders hammered in. His hilltop echoed with apprentices' swings. Momentum didn't wait for perfect steel. It forged it in fire. This is the chapter's burning core. Momentum myth busts, because it honors hidden harvests. Perfection measures by mile markers missed. Progress tracks the invisible inches stacking into miles. Like the bamboo's secret saga, years rooting deep in silent soil, unseen by impatient eyes, then exploding 60 feet in a season's fury. Your efforts mirror this. The daily draft dismissed as drivel, the workout wheezing through one rep, the outreach email sent sans sparkle. These aren't stalls, they're subterranean surges, building pressure for the breakthrough blast. Emotional resonance runs soul deep here. We ache for instant applause, but momentum's magic lies in faith's quiet forge. Trusting roots unseen reward the patient pusher. Let this truth touch your timeline. That blog post, lingering at 80%, the guitar riff rusty after weeks, the side hustle spreadsheet half scribbled, perfection brands them busts. Momentum calls them breakthroughs brewing. Ancient wisdom from desert nomads echoes. Camels don't scorn the first plodding step across dunes. They celebrate the stride that crests the next. Modern minds confirm, flow states ignite post-initiation, endorphins escorting effort into ecstasy, turning toil to trance. Your brain rewires with repetition's rhythm, neural highways paving from hesitant push to habitual pull. Ignite your own now. Envision your stalled project. Whisper to it. One turn. Not the full symphony. Just the opening chord. Marcus's hunter knife wasn't heirloom at birth. Use honed it wholly. Yours will too. Spiritually, this is sacred ignition. Motion mirrors the universe's pulse. Galaxies spinning from Big Bang's bang. Rivers rushing from raindrops' release. Stagnation starves the soul. Surge sets it soaring. Track your turns. Journal nightly. What wheel today? A paragraph penned. Moment. A call connected. Surge. Feel the hum harmonize. That's myth busted. Engine engaged. Breathe deep into this building blaze. No longer lingering at launch pads. You lean into the locomotive's lean. The thrill of traction triumphing over tidy. Perfection parks. Progress propels. Your smallest shove shatters stasis, summoning speeds that stun. As this surge steadies your stride, curiosity kindles. What tales do those who lingered too long whisper in warning? Their sidelined dreams dust. The next chapter gathers their ghosts, fortifying your forward fire. The tracks stretch on. Press play. Chapter 5. Stories from the stalled sideliners. Picture a grand coliseum under midnight stars, thunderous cheers cascading from packed stone tiers as warriors clash in the arena's blaze. Floodlights sweep the dust-choked ring, illuminating sweat-slick triumphs and the roar of crowds claiming victors. But turn your gaze to the shadowed bleachers, high and forgotten figures hunched there, cloaked in regret's heavy folds, eyes hollow with the ache of unlived lives. They clutch tickets torn from dreams, whispering alibis to empty seats. My sword wasn't sharp enough, my armor unpolished. Below imperfect blades carve history, because they swung. Feel the chill of those shadows creeping toward you. That's the siren call of the sideliners, their stalled symphonies, a stark warning. Listen close. Their echoes are your escape hatch. Step into the light before the gates clang shut. We've surged forward, through illusions crushed, weights lifted, blemishes embraced, momentum mastered. Now, we pause in the Coliseum's hush to heed the sideliner's solemn school, the souls stalled by perfection's siren song, their stories searing lessons etched in what could have been. These aren't distant fables, they're mirrors, magnifying your own midnight hesitations. I'm reaching for the dreamer, drafting in darkness, the builder blueprint bound, the voice vaulted in vocal vaults. That knot of recognition tightening, its wisdom waking. This chapter collects their cautions, transforming tragedy into your triumph's torch. Let me usher you into Elena's alcove, a high school teacher in a fading Rust Belt town, where chalk dust mingled with the scent of unfulfilled fire. By day, she ignited young minds with poetry's spark. By night, a podcast bloomed in her breast. Echoes of everyday valor, tales of ordinary heroes hacking life's labyrinths. Perfection perched on her shoulder like a raven. Episodes demanded TED-level polished scripts, sculpted like sonnets, edits, erasing every music beds, symphonic. She recorded pilots in her closet studio, voice quivering with promise, then dissected them under merciless playback. Not primetime pure, she'd sigh, archiving another. Months morphed to a year. Her hard drive hoarded hours of honed but homeless audio. Students sensed her dimming light, one bold sophomore cornering her after class. "Miss E, your stories in lesson make us alive. Why not share the rest?" Chastened, Elena exhaled. No more marble masterpieces. She hit record on episode 1, raw reflections on resilience, a stumble over stats, laughter unscripted at her own flub, uploaded at 2 a.m. heart-hammering. By breakfast, comments cascaded. "This feels real, like you're in my kitchen." Listeners multiplied like morning light. Sponsors knocked. Elena's raw echoes now echoes globally, not for flawlessness, but for the fearless first drop that dared to breathe. These sideliner sagas reveal the chapter's crystalline core. Perfection sidelines, because it sequesters stories in solitary splendor, starving the oxygen of outreach and iteration. We huddle in hidden halls, polishing phantoms while the world races by, blind to the alchemy of audience alchemy. Feedbacks forge, communities crucible. Emotional undercurrents run raw here. Fear of judgment freezes us, birthing isolation's icy grip, yet progress pulses with connection's warmth. Studies in creative flow affirm it, sharing sparks serotonin surges, turning solo stalls into symphony swells, vulnerability's venture yielding velocity. Let these tales touch your timeline tenderly. The graphic novel sketched but shrouded. The online course curated to curriculum perfection, cursor blinking eternally. The reconciliation letter lingered over lexicon labored. Sideliners, shadows, stretched long from such stalls. The painter whose palettes gathered cobwebs. The coder whose code congealed in comment graveyards. The musician whose melodies molded in memory banks. Cultures worldwide chant this caution. Japanese Kaizen whispers continuous improvement through action, not isolation. African proverbs proclaim the child who asks directions doesn't wander forever, urging communal course correction over cloistered critique. Your liberation lies in their lament. Heed Elena's upload epiphany. Ship the shelterwood sturdy enough to stand, seeds of splendor sown for seasons to sculpt. Spiritually, this is soul summoning. Creation craves communion, a divine dialogue where maker meets made in the marketplace of minds. Track the turnaround. Tonight, exhume one stalled artifact. Share it softly, a friend's ear, a forum's thread. Feel the feedback's first faint fanfare. That's sideliner shackles shattering, progress parading past paralysis. Breathe this brotherhood of the bold into being. No longer nodding to the bleacher's ghosts, you stride arena-ready, scars as stripes of honor. Sideliners watch wide-eyed as warriors win, not with weapons of wonder, but wills willing to wield the workable. Their stories aren't dirges, they're dawn declarations, progress spotlights, perfection shadows. As these warnings weave into your warrior weave, a whisper wonders. What venomous voice within venomously vetoes your ventures? A critic cloaked as coach. The next chapter cracks that code, rewiring the inner saboteur into your staunchest ally. The arena awaits. Advance.
Chapter 6. Rewiring the Inner Critic.
Imagine a shadowed chamber deep in an ancient castle, torchlight flickering on walls scarred by centuries of siege. There, chained to a throne of thorns, sits your inner critic, a gaunt sentinel with eyes like smoldering coals, voice of venomous hiss echoing through your veins. Foolish mortal, your steps falter, your dreams dissolve in dawn's light. Every swing of your sword toward destiny meets its mocking parry, blade deflected back into your breast. Perfection forged this jailer, feeding it scraps of self-doubt until it grew monstrous. But hear the key turning in the lock now, the rattle of chains loosening as you rise, eyes blazing. This isn't your tormentor, it's a relic rusting in irrelevance. Grip the sword. The rewiring begins in this breath. Your voice reclaims the throne, building on sideliners' stark salvation. We enter the sanctum of the self, confronting and converting the inner critic from saboteur to sage. This voice isn't villain born of malice, it's evolution's echo, a caveman's caution wired for saber-toothed survival, now snarling at shadows of spreadsheets and spotlights. Perfection amplifies its alarm to apocalypse. Progress dials it to discerning guide. I'm whispering to the warrior wounded by its whispers, the creator cursed by its critique, the soul silenced by its sneer. That tremor in your chest. It's the old wiring sparking, ready for renewal. This chapter hands you the tools, rewire, reclaim, reign supreme. Step into Ravi's reckoning, a software engineer in Bangalore's buzzing tech sprawl, where code compiled dreams under neon nights. He burned to birth an app, MindMend, a sanctuary for stressed souls tracking moods through meditative prompts. But the critic coiled in his cortex. Algorithms must be airtight, interfaces intuitive as breath, beta flawless before first flight. Lines of code sprawled like labyrinths. He'd code till crimson dawn, then delete in disgust at sloppy syntax. Versions vanished into version control voids, labeled critic killed. Sleepless, spirit frayed. Ravi stumbled on a hacker's forum thread. Ship, ugly. Iterate, madly. Desperation drove him. Timer set, 25 minutes. He hacked a bare-bones build, clunky UI, basic buttons, prompts pulled from poetry scraps. No polish, just push. Uploaded to a test site, shared with 5 friends. Feedback flooded. Love the raw feel, fix that glitch. Critic hissed, catastrophe. Ravi countered, good enough for growth. Iterations ignited, each sprint silencing snarls with user cheers. MindMend now mends millions, not minted in majesty, but midwifed through merciless mentimum. Ravi's critic tamed, to troubleshooter, spotlighting strength amid stumbles. Here's the chapter's neural nexus. Rewiring thrives on recognition and repetition, neuroplasticity's noble gift, allowing ancient alarms to arc into astute advisors. That primal voice protected by paralyzing, "Don't hunt that mammoth alone," now neurotically nags at novel risks. Don't pitch that podcast prototype. Perfection pours fuel on its frenzy. Progress prescribes precision pauses. Emotional essence pierces here. The critic cloaks care, fear you'll fail and fracture. But unchecked, it chokes creation's cry. Brain scans sing harmony. Repetitive reframes reshape amygdala's anxiety, birthing prefrontal poise where pause precedes panic, insight inhales instinct. Let this light your labyrinth. That presentation perpetually previewed, perfection's prisoner. The melody muted mid-note by mediocre murmurs, the outreach orphaned by obvious oversights. Your critic curates these cul-de-sacs, scripting safety in stagnation. Indigenous shamans sense this. Spirits of caution serve when summoned, not suffered, offered tobacco, not tribute of terror. Contemporary cognitive labs confirm, label the loop. There's the critic chiming, then counter with curiosity. What serves the step forward? Ravi's 25-minute timer, Pomodoro's wisdom weaponized, slicing critics' ceaseless cycle into conquerable chunks. Enact the alchemy now. Inhale deeply. Name your next nag aloud. Critic says this draft drips dullness. Exhale defiance. Good enough for gathering gold, feedback forges fire. Set the clock, 20 minutes of willful work. Ship the sketch. Feel the shift. Synapses stretch. New pathways pave. Critic crumbles from commander to consultant. Spiritually, this is sacred surgery. The voice, once veiled as villain, unveils as vessel. Divine discernment distilled through human haze. Universe unfolds in unfolds. Stars birthed from nebulae mess. Rivers rushing ragged rocks. Smooth. Your rewiring mirrors majesty. Mess to mastery. Murmur to music. Sense the serenity seeping in. No longer lashed to thorns, you lounge on liberated leather. Critic kneeling as counselor, its barbs blunt to beacons, guiding without gouging. Progress doesn't exercise the echo, it elevates it from echo chamber of error to echo of empowerment. As circuits realign and strength surges, a subtle summons sounds. What if victory visits not in vaults of valor, but in victories vanishingly small, stacking silently into summits scaled? The coming chapter unveils tiny triumphs, tidal power, turning whispers of win into waves of wonder. The throne is yours. Rise renewed. Chapter 7. The Power of Tiny Triumphs. Visualize a colossal elephant, trunk swaying like a pendulum of power, tusks carving moonlight in the African savanna's hush. Legends claim it shatters chains with a single surge, yet behold the myth's quiet unraveling. Thin ropes bind its massive ankle to a stake, no thicker than your wrist. Why no rebellion? Memory mocks it, raised from calfhood with bonds that grew no stronger, conditioning the giant to accept captivity as cosmic decree. But one cunning soul slips a hoof forward, then another tugging with tender tenacity. Fibers fray, silent at first, then snap in symphony. Freedom floods from the feeblest force. Feel your own chains creaking now in invisible tethers forged by perfection's proclamation that only Herculean heaves count. Tiny triumphs tell the truth. Victory visits the vigilant, not the vaunted. Your first fray begins this instant. Within a critic, converted to compass, we crest into the chapter of compounding conquests, the seismic secret that summits scale through steps scarcely seen. Perfection postures for podium poses, scorning the slog. Tiny triumphs teach that elephants topple via incremental insurgency, each micro-move multiplying into monumental might. I'm calling to the colossal crushed by craving cascades of glory, the ambition anchored awaiting avalanches of achievement. That subtle spark in your solar plexus, it's the stack starting to stir. This revelation redefines resolve. Small wins aren't sideshows, they're the soul's stealth strategy, stacking silently into stratospheric success. Enter Nora's narrative, a freelance illustrator in Seattle's drizzle-drenched lofts. Where pencils danced dreams across digital pads, she yearned for a graphic novel empire, panels pulsing with mythic heroines, colors cascading like Pacific storms. Perfection prowled her process. Every sketch screamed sketchy, thumbnails too tentative for titan tales, pages piled unfinished, portfolio pristine but paralyzed. Bills bit like winter wind. Doubt dug deeper. Then a whisper from Wellness Woods. Track triumphs, tiniest to towering, skeptical. Nora surrendered. Day 1. Outlined one character's jawline, check. Day 2. Shaded her eyes, shadows soft, check. No fanfare, just faithful flick of pen. Critic cooed approval at accumulation. Weeks wove into wonder. 50 micromarks morphed to full figure, then chapter cascade. She shared page 1 online, raw, real. This heroine haunts, fans hailed. Commissions crested, her ink increment series inks bestseller lists, born not from blockbuster bursts, but the ballast of baby steps building unbreakable ballast. This forms the chapter's crystalline conviction. Tiny triumphs, triumph, because they transmute momentum into math compounding like interest in an invisible bank, where 1% persists into paradigm shifts. Perfection passes progress by peaks scaled. Tiny trackers tally the trail's texture, each tick transforming toil into treasure. Emotional epicenter pulses profound. Weary wills weary under weight of waiting for wow moments, but micro milestones massage the psyche, dopamine drizzling delight with every done. Behavioral beacons blaze bright. Habit labs chronicle chains unbroken by chipping, smokers shedding sticks one sidestep at a time, writers wording worlds word by word, forging neural nets of next feels natural. Let this lens light your ledger. The manuscript, marooned mid-manuscript, fitness faltering at first feeble flex, outreach orphaned on overwhelm's altar. Tiny triumphs target these tempests, floss one fang, victory veiled as virtue. Journal one jagged thought, gem gathering gleam, message one maybe mentor. Momentum's modest miracle. Ancient alchemists aligned with this. Drops fill the deluge, grains grind the granite smooth. Quantum quirks quiet the quest. Snowflakes settle singly, yet blanket mountains. Neurons nudge one by one into networks of knowing. Harvest yours here, heart forward. Pause, pick one pursuit. Proclamation, today one triumph. Brewed that bitter brew sans snooze. Triumph, stretched spine skyward, seismic. Spirit sings in such subtlety. Divine design delights in the diminutive, fractals flowering from finite fragments. Cosmos conceived in cosmic cough of creation. Log it lavishly, notebook, app, allowed to air. Witness, weeks weave wonders. 10 triumphs tower to transformation. Critic converted to cheerleader chronicling climbs. Inhale the increment's incense. No longer needing Nobel notches for nobility. You navigate with ninja nuance. Each nano-notice nurturing nerve. Tiny triumphs don't diminish dreams, they democratize them, delivering destiny to doorsteps of the diligent. As these atoms assemble into avalanches within, intrigue ignites. What if those stumbles scripted, not as scars but springboards, art of advancing through adversity's art? The horizon hints at failing forward's fierce finesse, where falls fuel flight. Triumphs tower taller. Trek onward. Chapter 8. Failing Forward. The unsung thunder cracks the night sky over a sheer cliff face. Rain lashing like 1,000 accusing fingers as a climber dangles from a crumbling hold. Knuckles white, muscles screaming betrayal. Below the abyss yawns hungry, whispering fall means finished. But watch, her foot probes, finds purchase on a jagged outcrop. body swings into new angle, upward thrust defying gravity's grasp. Not flawless ascent, but forged from the flail. She summits scarred but sovereign. Perfection would have paralyzed at the precipice, demanding divine grip before first reach. Failure, it sketched the safe route in sweat and setback. Feel your own ledge looming, heart hammering at the drop. This isn't defeat's domain, it's the dojo of the daring. Grip tighter, the art awakens now. Rising from tiny triumphs, towering tide, we plunge into the pivot point, failing forward, the unsung art that sculpts savants from stumblers. Perfection paints failure as finality's scarlet stamp, a scarlet letter searing shame into silence. Progress unveils it as professor, raw, relentless, revealing paths through the pain of practice. I'm summoning the soul scarred by slips, the innovator iced by iteration's ice, the trailblazer singed by trial's torch. That adrenaline ache in your arms, its ancestry calling, ancestors who thrived, not despite tumbles but through them. This chapter consecrates the crash as catalyst, turning tombstones into touchstones. Witness Kai's crucible, a young inventor in Tokyo's tangled alleys, where circuit boards birthed under buzzing fluorescence. He chased a wearable wonder, PulseGuard, a band sensing heart anomalies, alerting before collapse. Perfection pulsed in his prototype paranoia, sensors calibrated to nanoseconds, algorithms anticipating arrhythmias with clairvoyant calm, casing contoured like couture. First build fried on first flex, second shorted spectacularly, sparking his workbench into mini inferno. Kai catalogued collapses. Overload at 3.2 volts, false positive cascade. Discards piled like pyres, funding flickered out. Despair's dawn, he journaled not just what broke, but what breathed. The sensor's sensitivity shone in stress tests. Algorithm aced isolated beats. One tweak, voltage valve. Retry. Third tumbled too, but texted true alert to his phone during simulated sprint. No fanfare, just forward file. Lessons 1, 2, 3. PulseGuard persisted, fourth flew flawless in field trials, saving lives in marathons worldwide. Kai's scars, not sequels but prequels to patents. His fail-forward labs now launching legends. At this chapter's molten core, failing forward flourishes as feedback's fierce forge, distilling data from disaster, pivots from plummets. Perfection perceives flops as fractures of fate. The art extracts essence, 3 takeaways per tumble, transforming tragedy to textbook. Emotional epicenter erupts. Failure's sting stems from self-worth's stake. I am the error, yet reframed. It frees event, not essence. Neurolabs illuminate. Post-fall reflection releases resilience. Ripples, hippocampus harvesting hindsight, prefrontal plotting precision plays, anti-fragility armor thickening with every bruise. Let this lens lacerate your losses lovingly. The pitch plummeting into polite pass, campaign cratering in crickets, recipe rebelling into rubble, failing forward farms them, journal post-jolt, what worked, what warped, one wrench forward. Kai's voltage valve, born of burn, ancient artisans affirmed. Blacksmiths beat beauty from bent bars, potters pinch perfection from popped pots. Quantum quests, quiet quip. Particles probe probabilities. Collapsing waves into worlds through wrong-way wonders. Invoke it instantly. Recall recent rupture. Pen poised. Lesson 1, timing trailed. 2, tone too tentative. 3, target too broad. Adjust. Advance. Spiritually, this is sacred stumble. Divinity dances in the dust-up. Phoenix fledged from feather-fallen fire, creation's canvas kissed by correction's kiss. Cosmos crafts through collision, stars smashing into solar systems, evolution edging via error's edge. Absorb the ascent's aura, no longer nursing nicks as nightmares. You nod to next nudge, falls as friends, framing fortune. Failing forward doesn't dodge the drop, it dances with it, pirouetting past peril into prowess. As this art anchors your agility, alliance beckons. What if solo stumbles soar higher in symphony, with souls who celebrate the swing? The next chapter convenes the courageous collective, where shared scars summon super strength. The cliff calls, climb collective. Chapter 9. The community of the courageous. Envision a lone wolf silhouetted against a howling gale on a barren tundra, fur matted, paws bloodied from solitary scrapes against endless ice. It bays at the moon, echoes swallowed by wind. Strength sapped in isolation's iron grip. Then, faint howls harmonize from the horizon, packmates converging, eyes fierce with shared fire, shoulders brushing in unbreakable bond. Together they surge through storm, toppling prey perfection's pride couldn't pierce alone. Feel that solitary chill gripping your spine now, the ache of ambitions attempted in aching alone. This isn't your fate. Community calls the courageous collective, where solo struggles alchemize into symphonic strength. Howl back, your pack awaits. Ascending from failing forward's forged finesse, we converge on the campfire circle, the community of the courageous, where progress pulses not in private prowess, but communal courage. Perfection prefers the pedestal of proud isolation, polishing solos in shadowed studios while worlds whirl by. True thrust thrives in tribe, raw drafts dissected by daring eyes, stumbles steadied by sibling spirits, celebrations cascading in collective cheers. I'm hailing the hermit honing hidden gems, the pioneer polishing in private pain, the trailblazer tired of trail without companions, that warmth flickering in your core, its belonging beckoning. This chapter kindles the kinship that catapults creators to constellations. Step into Mirror's gathering, a budding baker in Brooklyn's bustling brownstones, where ovens glowed with visions of velvet cakes layered like love letters. She dreamed of soul slices, desserts delving into diners' deepest cravings, chocolate depths for the heartbroken, lavender lifts for the languid. Perfection patrolled her pantry, frosting flawless as frescoes, fillings fused without faintest fissure, flavors forecasted by formula alone. Batches baked to brilliance in her solitary kitchen, then binned for borderline, tastings turned to trash, tears salted her sinks. Desolation dawned when a flyer fluttered in, Baker's bold circle, weekly meetup of food dreamers daring drafts. Skeptical, Mirror arrived with one wonky wedge, caramel cascade uneven, crust cracked like canyon smile. 10 tasters encircled. This caramel sings sorrow into sweetness. Crust crunches comfort. Critiques came kind, pinch salt here, pipe steadier there. No judgment, just joy in joint journey. Next week refined round shared, cheers swelled. Mirror's cracked crust collective cakes now crown city celebrations, collaborations with circle siblings spawning pop-up paradises. Solo, stalled, communal soaring. This chapter's heart, community catalyzes, because it converts critique to communion, vulnerability's vault into velocity's village. Perfection perceives peers as predators, hoarding half-baked for holy completion. Courageous circles celebrate the cooking spoons, stirring shared pots. Emotional essence envelops. Isolation incubates insecurity's ivy, strangling lose of self. Tribe tends the tendrils, pruning with love, pollinating possibility. Social synapse studies sparkle. Oxytocin oceans overflow in open shares, bonding brains, boosting bravery, turning me against the mess to us, mastering the mud. Let this light lead your lonely lanes, the screenplay shrouded in secrecy, melody marooned minus mentors, venture vaulted from validation, community cracks these cocoons. Seek the circle, online forums firing feedback, local leagues launching launches, masterminds mirroring your mess. Mirrors cracked crust, catalyst, because companions saw soul in the split. Tribal traditions teach timelessly. Navajo weavers weave together, threads telling tales, no single strand sings. Viking voyagers victorious via half-bound halls of honing heroes. Forge your flock now. In this instant, unearth one unfinished offering. Post to a progress-positive pocket. Reddit's raw creators, Discord's daring doers. Here's my half-hewn heart hone with me. Witness words weave back, wobbles whisper wisdom, tweak this, treasure that. Spiritually, this is sacred synod, souls spark in symphony, divine design delighting in duets dance, galaxies grouping gravity's grace, ecosystems entwining for endurance embrace. Inhale the harmony's hum, no longer navigating night's chill alone, you nestle in night's nurture, Pack's pulse propelling past peril. Community doesn't dilute dreams, it dynamites them into dazzling dawns, shared scars, scripting sagas supreme. As alliances amplify your ascent, awareness awakens. How do you gauge the genuine gain amid glitter's glare, ensuring every stride strikes true? The forthcoming chapter calibrates the compass, measuring what truly moves mountains. Bonds deepen, bind closer. Chapter 10, measuring what matters. Gaze upon a mountaineer perched on Everest's razor ridge, wind whipping like a vengeful spectre. Altimeter frozen at 29,000 feet, perfection's pinnacle pulsing in neon promise. She pauses, breath ragged, eyes locked on summit's siren glow, every sinew screaming for that singular stamp of supremacy. But glance at her wrist, not glory gauges, but gritty grids. Steps logged since base camp, oxygen ounces conserved, elevation edges earned hour by hour. The peak poses pretty, yet her true treasure tallies the trail's tenacity. Invisible inclines compounding into conquest. Feel your own scales tipping toward trophies too towering now. Perfection's mirage masking motion's miracle. This isn't metric madness, it's mastery unveiled. Recalibrate. What measures matter rises here. From courageous communities' collective crest, we calibrate the compass, measuring what truly moves mountains, ditching delusion's dials for destiny's dashboard. Perfection fixates on finish line fireworks, sails secreting, sculptures sculpted, sans seam, symphonies scored to silence critics. Progress prizes the pulse, experiments executed, edges explored, echoes engaged. I'm guiding the goal-getter gripped by grand gauges, the striver starved by scoreboard silence, the doer doubting directionless drifts. That clarity crystallizing in your crown, its metrics mended. This chapter charts the course traction, not trophies, motion, not monuments. Enter Theo's Tally, a fledgling filmmaker in Los Angeles' labyrinthine lots, where celluloid dreams flickered under sodium lamps. He hungered for real redemption, a documentary diving into redemption's raw rivers. Ex-cons crafting cinema from cell block scars. Perfection pinned his progress to prizes. Cannes Crystal, Oscar Gold, box office billions before first frame. Scripts swelled with subplot splendor. Edits endless in emulation of epic auteurs. Reels racked up, raw footage rotting in redundant renders. Festivals faded from view, funds fizzled. Festival fatigue fractured him until a mentor murmured, "Measure moves, not medals." Theo tore the tape. New ledger launched. Scenes shot daily. Interviews inked. Cuts completed weekly. Day 32, 3 testimonies taped. Check. Week 8. Rough reel rolled to 5 viewers. Feedback fueled. Tighten tension here. No awards alter, just action arcs ascending. Real redemption premiered at indie fests. Hearts harvested not by hype, but honest hustle tracked true. Theo's troupe now thrives. Dashboards dictating dreams delivered. This chapter's calibrated core. Meaningful measures magnify, because they mirror momentum's math inputs, igniting outputs, actions, authoring ascent over outcome, obsession. Perfection's plumb line plummets to pass or perish. Birthing burnouts blaze. Progress's pulse tracks experiments as currency. Skills sharpened as stock. Sparks struck as surplus. Emotional equator equilibrates here. Scoreboard slavery shackles spirit to sporadic surges, but motion metrics massage mastery. Serotonin steady from steady strides. Flow research radiates. Activity audits. Activate agency, turning nebulous not enough to numbered next earned. Prefrontal plotting persisting past plateaus. Let this ledger light your labyrinth. The newsletter nested in not viral enough. Code commits cloaked in completion complexes. Outreach orphaned by open rate obsessions. Reframe the ruler. Dial 1110 daily. Advanced on audience today. A 4 from outreach fog. Forward fire. Athletes attest. Sprinters, sprint splits, not solely seconds shaved. Yogis yield to breath. Breaths, not bend extremes. Eastern essences echo. Tao teeters on tiny tilts. Water-wearing worlds through wavelet wisdom, not waterfall force alone. Anchor your audit now. Breathe. Beacon 1 pursuit. Board. Advances logged. Reps run. Reaches reached. Refines rendered. Theo's testimony tally. Transformed torment to triumph. Spiritually, this is soul's surveyor. Universe unfolds in unfolds. Atomodes, 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 ebunating architectures, evolutions edging epochs via endless experiments, divinity delighting in data's dance over destiny's dictate. Inhale the increments integrity. No longer nodding to nebulous not-yets, you navigate with numeric nobility, every etched effort elevating essence. Measures that matter don't mock the mess. They map the marvel, charting chaos to constellation. As dashboards dawn your direction, endurance beckons. How does one husband this hard-won hustle against burnout's blaze, pulsing progress into perennial power? The next chapter cradles that cadence, sustaining the sacred surge. Heights higher, call. Climb calibrated. Chapter 11. Sustaining the progress pulse. Behold a mighty river, born in mountain mist, thundering from glacial heart through narrow canyons, carving empires of stone over eons with patient power. No frantic flood, no fevered sprint, just steady surge, pulse unwavering, eroding granite to grace note by note. Now imagine perfection's phantom dam, a sprint to sea's end. Then shatter against shores, spent and scorched. The river endures, heartbeat rhythmic, retreats as vital as rushes. Feel your own pulse quickening to frenzy now. Ambitions blaze, threatening burnout's black hole. This isn't exhaustion's end, it's endurance's invitation. Tune to the tempo, your sacred rhythm reclaims the flow. Cresting from calibrated measures, clear course, we cradle the cadence, sustaining the progress pulse, where marathon mastery marries momentum's melody. Perfection provokes the perilous peak chase, cresting once, then crashing in cinders. Sustained progress pulses perennial, a heartbeat, not hurricane, weaving consistency into conquest. I'm speaking to the sprinter sputtering spent, the firebrand flickering faint, the visionary veering toward void. That steady thrum in your temple, its sustainability summoning, This chapter composes the concerto rhythms, restoring resilience, rest as right, gratitude guarding the glow. Journey with Lila, a wellness coach in Vancouver's verdant vale, where dawn yoga fused with visions of Vitality Vault, an app anchoring souls in self-care sanctuaries. She blazed initial builds, modules meditating on mindfulness, trackers tallying tranquility, communities cradling calm. Perfection propelled her pace, daily drills till dusk, launches looming like lifelines, metrics maniacal, weeks warped into wreckage, eyes aching, immunity imploding, inspiration iced, clients cancelled, code congealed, collapse came in quiet quake fever, felling her frame, bedbound. Lila listened, river's rhythm, not rapids rage. Ritual reborn, weekly weaves over daily whips, Sunday scans of strides savored, Tuesday tides of targeted tasks, Friday fires of free play, rest ritualized, noon naps nurture, evenings emptied for essence, walks whispering woods, journals journaling joy, gratitude graced each gauge, 3 gratitudes gleaned today, pulse steadied, app ascended anew, not avalanche, but artesian flow. Vitality Vault vitalizes thousands, Lila luminous, legacy lasting, because she learned to linger lovingly. This chapter's vital vein. Sustaining pulses, prosper by patterning pauses into power, preventing perfection's burnout blaze through balanced beats. Frantic fosters fatigues fracture, rhythmic reaps renewals river, emotional epicenter exhales here, overdrive orphans the observer within, severing self from soul cadence courts communion cortisol calmed by circadian care. Chronobiology chimes, ultradian undulations demand 90-minute pulses of peak, then pause, sleep symphony restoring synaptic sparkle, turning toil to timeless traction. Let this lullaby light your labor, the content calendar crammed to collapse, habit chains chafing chest, outreach oceans overwhelming one soul, recast the rhythm, weekly wisdoms, winds woven, winds welcomed, wonders wished. Lila's noon naps, neural nectar consolidating conquests, indigenous insights illuminate, Pueblo potters pause mid-molding, honoring Earth's exhale, Zen zephyrs zone on Zui Hitsu, aimless walks awakening artistry unforced. Cultivate your cadence consciously. Here, now, inscribe intention. This week, 3 sacred pauses, sunrise, stretch, midday meander, twilight, thanks. Track not tasks tallied, but tides turned tender. Spiritually, this mirrors majesty. Cosmos cycles ceaselessly. Lunar leanings, solar solstices, season scripting sagas, sound strain. Divinity dances in deliberate dawns, urging unfoldment unhurried, fractals flowering faithfully from finite folds. Exhale into equilibrium. No longer lash to lightning's lash. You lap the long waves, pulse partnering with planet's perennial poetry. Sustaining doesn't slow dreams, it steeps them in stamina, brewing boldness boundless. As rhythms root your resilience, revelation ripens. The full voyage viewed from vantage, every verse woven into victory's vast vista. The finale awaits, fusing fragments into forever flame. Pulse with me to the shore. Chapter 12. The Legacy of Lifelong Progress. Stand once more at that wind-swept cliff from our journey's dawn, but transformed. No longer clutching a fragile paper boat, you stride forward, launching a sturdy vessel into surging waves, sails patched from trials, hull scarred by storms embraced, oar gripped with quiet command. The ocean that once mocked now mirrors your mastery, parting in reverence as horizon beckons boundless. You've crossed not in flawless fury, but rhythmic resolve, Every chapter's lesson a wave conquered, every blemish a badge burnished bright. Feel the salt spray kissing your face now, wind whispering worthy. This isn't finale, it's forever forward. You've arrived, not at end, but eternal embarkation. Anchor this truth. Your legacy launches here. We've woven through 12 sacred portals, illusions incinerated, weights whispered away, blemishes blooming beautiful, momentum myth-busted, sideliners schooled, critics converted, triumphs towering tiny, failures flipped forward, communities convened, measures mended, pulses sustained. Now, in this culmination's cradle, we crown the core. Progress over perfection as lifelong legacy, a living flame fueling generations beyond your gaze. Perfection perishes in pursuit of pristine peaks. Progress perpetuates, planting seeds in soul soil that sprout sagas unending. I'm gazing into your eyes across this invisible divide, the seeker who started stalled, now sovereign strider. That radiant resolve rising, its realization ripened. This chapter seals the symphony, etching eternity into every endeavor. Reflect on Aria's Odyssey, a dancer in Dublin's drizzling dance halls, where floorboards flexed under dreams of choreography captivating continents. Orphaned young, she poured pain into pirouettes. Legacy lifts, solos soaring from sorrow's depths. Perfection pirouetted her prisoner. Steps sequenced to symphonic seamlessness, costumes couture crisp, rehearsals relentless till ribs showed ribs. Premieres postponed perpetually, mirrors mocked her mirror. Audiences awaited, Aria withered. Watershed came wandering a wisdom workshop. Progress plants posterity. She premiered imperfect. 2 lifts wobbly, finale foot faltered. Crowd hushed, then erupted, not for polish, but pulse. The raw redemption rippling through every ragged breath. Videos viralized. Schools summoned her sequences. Aria's imperfect inheritance academies now nurture novices worldwide, her stumbles studied as stepping stones. Legacy, not laurels, but lineages launched. Dancers dancing her daring decades on. This pinnacle pulses profound. Lifelong progress legacies because it liberates lineage, birthing blueprints beyond your breath, systems, sustaining stories, stirring, sparks, self-perpetuating. Perfection poses portraits, frozen in fame. Progress propagates principles, compounding across calendars like ancestral acorns, oakening orchards. Emotional essence elevates eternally, finite frames, fear fading, infinite flows, foster fulfillment's flood, oxytocin oceans of offspring outliving origin. Legacy labs confirm, enduring empires erect from everyday evolutions, not episodic eruptions, libraries from logged learnings, movements from measured miles. Let this legacy lens lavish your life. The ventures ventured halfway, vocations veiled in vagueness, relationships ripened raw, infuse them immortal. Document the dance. What danced today endures. Aria's wobbly lifts. Wisdom for wings. Mystics murmur mirroring, Egyptian eternity etched in evolving emblems, Celtic knots coiling ceaseless circles, shamans shaping spirits through seasonal spirals. Embody the eternal now. Proclamation. My progress pulses posterity. One principle passed today. Capture it. Video, vignette, journal, jewel, conversation kindled. Share with seed bearers, child, colleague, community circle. Spiritually, this sanctifies the saga. Souls, seed universes, stardust swirling into solar symphonies, creator crafting through created's continuum, divinity dreaming dreams that dream themselves dreaming. Breathe the boundless. No longer chasing chimeras, you channel currents cosmic, every effort echoing endlessly. Legacy lives not in limestone lies, but living lineages, progress's purest poetry. You've traversed the tempest to tranquil triumph, heart heavier with wisdom, lighter with liberty. Carry this compass, launch lopsided, love the lean, legacy the long game. One pledge before parting. Today, etch one eternal act, imperfect, infinite. The waves wait no longer. Sail sovereign, your legend lives.